Hi guys, this is Tony here from Metal Roos. You're about to sit down and enjoy an interview I just did um, over there. And so do like and subscribe so you can get all this straight into your streaming and into your consciousness as soon as it arrives. So enjoy the interview, and I will. Over to you, Tony.
Okay.
Now. Hey Steve, thanks for coming on and chatting with us. I know, as you said, you've got a lot to do and you're busy, and you're on
Yeah,
holiday.
what a great way to start an interview. I'm so busy. Oh, poor old me.
No, I don't. Look, it's a modern world. You know, you've been around a long time, done a lot of stuff. You're going to be
Yeah,
busy,
yeah.
you know. So you're heading out on a huge Australian tour coming up in November.
Yeah.
Wow. For the
I am
singles. So it's like 20 singles you're playing through on each of the
That's correct. That's
nights.
correct. Yes. And a
Wow.
mystery encore that we haven't figured out yet.
Well, I mean, the amount of albums that you've produced
I
over
know.
the years since like 1980, it's a lot of music to be fitting in.
It, it's really hard to decide. You can never do a good cross section because we only like okay, even when we play for 3 hours, which we sometimes do, there's still a lot of stuff has to be left out. So
Yeah.
yeah, but we've got our 20 singles. We don't know what the encore is going to be, but the 20 singles are sorted out.
Will you start from the first album and move forward? Is that
It's not gonna be chronological. That would be
right?
awful. That would be awful. Plus why would half the audience will leave at half time?
Ah, of course.
You gotta yeah, you see, you gotta like leave a bit of a carrot at
Yeah,
the end.
wanting them
You
more,
gotta
wanting to stay for more. Right, that's
yeah.
it.
Okay, so I learned my lesson when I saw the Knack.
Oh, brilliant
And the
band.
Knack played at a gig in Manly in 1980, or might have been 1979. They walked on stage and they played My Sharona first, and the whole place emptied out.
Wow.
And yeah, and I made a note to myself, never give them the ones they want to hear early, or it will end in tears.
Yeah, if you started with Unguarded Moment, they'd probably all go, okay, and I say, right, all those we'll go off. Oh dear.
Yeah, so not chronological. Got to so the church have really had four big hits in Australia. How long have you been in Australia?
28 years?
Okay.
Hmm.
All right. So you weren't even here for some of them,
No,
as
but my but
ridiculous
my
as that seems.
my darling wife is a massive fan, so I have
Okay.
listened to a lot
Okay.
of it.
So you married an Aussie.
I did. That's how I got here.
Oh, I see. It's an arranged marriage.
No, well, no, I've been married 30 years.
Let's talk about you and not me.
Yes. Right. But yeah, so the four big hits, as you were saying,
Yeah.
that you
So the
can.
four big hits, and then a few minor hits. And then really the rest of our singles, some of our singles are deep cuts, if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
They're
yes,
like
absolutely.
they're as obscure as anything else. And let me say this, all of that none of our singles started life as a single. I didn't sit I didn't they weren't it wasn't like I wrote a song or we wrote a song and went, oh, that's a single, or then we wrote a song and went, oh, that's from an album. All the songs started life unprejudiced, with no prejudice. They could have been anything at all, you know.
Mm.
Only later on, someone decided that they were going to actually be singles.
Well, I mean, I think that's the best way to do it, isn't it, though? I mean, all the great bands in history they don't write singles, they just write the album and whatever comes, isn't it? You know?
I think a lot do, and I think I think Lennon and McCartney. I think they could sit down and go, "Hey, John, we need a
Oh,
single,"
yeah,
and
well,
they would
yeah.
they could knock it out. But I could never do that. So yeah.
Yeah, well, they're a different realm, aren't they?
They're
They're
different. You never should. What one thing you should learn is you should never. Funnily enough, we had this producer Waddy Wachtel who knew Ringo, and
mm.
one day he said, I've got these four fucking geezers in the studio. He said they don't know anything. They think they're the Beatles. And Ringo said, I know the feeling. I know the feeling.
Oh, isn't that fantastic that I mean, over the years that you've been going, I was only listening back to the first album this morning. That whole sort of new wave sound that you had, that sort of more harsher,
On that first album, on
yeah,
album number one,
number
yeah.
one. And then you changed to a
Before I,
drummer. Yeah.
yeah, and before I seized control,
Mm.
I didn't want the first album to sound like that. I didn't want all the guys on the guitars going jug 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 jug, which by the way is called mute palm ostinato.
Yes.
I didn't want that. It was very fashionable at the time. And you listen to, whoever, they
Mm.
were all the Aussie bands are all going jug 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 jug. I didn't want jug 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 jug. And then by the second album, the jug 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 had gone.
Yeah, the
And
jangly came in. The jangle
the
came in.
jangle, the jangle. On the second album, we found out who we were, and of course, helped and aided and abetted by Bob Clearmountain, who at the time was the most famous producer in the world, the most famous mixer. For
Mm.
some reason, he wanted to actually come over and work with us,
Wonderful.
and yeah, and on that album, we turned into the church. Before that, it's sort of like a proto church. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, you said there's a vast difference. You put on the first album and then put on the second album. It is almost like different bands. There is a definite move. I mean, still got that DNA in there slightly, but
Yeah,
it certainly the sound that you produce on the second album for me is the sound you hear all through your career. There's a
kind of. It
sort of a motif
Yeah,
feel.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Mm,
definitely, definitely. Um, yes, and kudos to Bob Clearmountain for helping us achieve that.
mm. I mean, obviously, I mean, I would put you. I mean, you're a guitar pop punk band, right? Or I'd say punk band, guitar pop band. But I think you're deeper than that. You know, your stuff
We are,
is yeah, much deeper
we
than
are,
just being
yeah,
a singles charting guitar pop
we
band.
are, and as we went on, even on the second album, we moved away from that. We moved into sort of prog a bit, I think.
Mm.
Um, and prog isn't a dirty word for
No,
me.
it
I
isn't
mean,
even me.
I
It's a
know
four-letter word. I love it.
Yeah. I fucking listen to the Yes album a lot more than I listen to Nevermind the Bollocks, you
Yes.
know? I often ruminate on the how punk came along and destroyed all the careers of all those bands. But who imagine going around someone's house now and they're playing punk all night? I don't know. Maybe the kids are doing that, but
Yes,
it was
yeah,
a
I'm with
red
you.
herring.
I'm with you.
Red herring.
I love punk. Don't get me wrong. I do love it. I love new wave, but prog was one of my earliest loves. And I remember sitting down in my brother's bedroom listening to Landrise Down on Broadway and being
My favorite album.
snap
Yeah.
and just going, what journey am I on? This is
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
journey of
Yeah.
music.
Yeah.
Though with the
There you go.
energy, you need the energy of punk. I think, but energy wise, it's what you have the energy, but you have the wisdom
I've
of prog.
I've tried to take look. I love a lot of things, and I've tried to take the best bits of everything I love and put it into the church.
Yeah, and it
That's
comes
the
across.
truth of it. Yeah.
Yeah, it comes across. I mean, you couldn't make that, was it 30 albums? You couldn't make that many albums and not love what you're doing. You'd just go mad, wouldn't you? Like just pumping out stuff you
I
couldn't enjoy.
I guess I guess so.
Mm.
Yeah.
I mean, looking at the tour, you've had to add extra dates. You've sold out fair few of the already
Yeah.
and added extra dates on. You've sold out in
Yeah.
Sydney and
Yeah.
Melbourne, and
Yeah. Yeah.
that's
And
fantastic.
to further complicate that, we're also involved in this Red Hot Summer thing now,
Mm.
and that's selling out as well.
Wow.
So that's the one with Crowded House.
Yes, yes,
So
yes. I read about
that's
that.
selling out, and the church is selling out, and it's getting hard to. It's going to be some sooner or later. There'll be a sort of clash of agenda where we won't be able to do the Red Hot Summer, or we won't be able to participate in the sellout gigs of
Mm.
the Red Hot Summer.
Well, there's got to be a compromise. I mean, the thing is, I have to say, Steve, is that your sound is so intrinsically and beautifully Australian, right? That whole
You
period.
reckon?
Oh God, yes. I
See, I don't
reckon.
see it that
No,
way at all.
see, I
But
reckon
maybe
I
as
could
an
hear it.
Englishman,
Yeah,
maybe as an Englishman you do. I
yeah.
don't know. I don't know what the Australian bit is because you know I'm English as well.
Mm.
And for a while, Marty Wilson Piper, who was in the band, he was like defiantly English.
Liverpool, was he
He
from
was like,
Liverpool?
yeah,
Yeah.
he really rejected Australia in spades. So, and he was huge on prog
Mm.
and krautrock and stuff. So I don't know where the Australian bit's coming from,
I don't know. I hear
really.
it when I hear because when I go, I said my darling wife, who's a huge pop fan of the '80s. Everything. She's almost um, sort of encyclopedia, right, kind of thing of it. And we play it. She was playing a lot of that to me, and it just has this sound. Like I look at, I hear the Saints, for instance, and
Yeah,
then you hear bands like you, and there is this sort of like I don't know. Maybe it's a beach sound, maybe it's a sunny sound. I don't know.
you know what they said about the go-betweens? They had the striped sunlight sound.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know. I think there's just maybe is the production? Is it the production of it? I
I don't
don't
know.
know.
I don't know. I think the Blur Crusade could have come from anywhere.
Mm.
Even the two Australian guys in the band both had Dutch parents.
Yeah, so it's the mix.
Um,
It's a melange, isn't it?
so it wasn't the church was never a super Aussie thing. Although there's nothing wrong with that either.
No, no.
And later in the career, I feel in the early days I was trying to be as European as I possibly could, and then later on I forgot about all of that and tried to embrace my inner Aussiness as much as I could.
I mean, you've got a unique voice.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's true. You have a unique voice. It's very, very unique. It's got a lilt of softness, but it's also got a hard edge to it. And lyrically, you don't hold back on your lyrics. You're not sunshine and happiness lyric writer. You do write some powerful stuff.
Thanks, mate. Thank you.
And I think
Yeah,
that's also what makes I feel to me sound Australian. I think it's that. I don't know. I just yeah.
yeah.
Not to
You
say it's not
know,
universal though, because it is universal.
I I think about what would have happened if my mum and dad hadn't moved to Australia.
Mm,
Um, I think I could have had a better shot at world domination if they'd remained in London. But
well, the amount of
there you
talent,
go.
well, the amount of talent you have, because you're from Welwyn Garden City, aren't you?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
But I
yeah.
would have. I imagine I would have in the 70s, mid 70s. I would have if we were still there
Mm,
because my mum and dad were Cockneys.
yep. So my
Um,
parents. Yep,
yeah,
yep.
like my dad was from Angel Islington, and mum was from sort of she was in sort of the same area,
Mm,
and I don't
Neathens.
know. I ruminate what would have happened if I hadn't moved out here, and then but maybe I would have been run over by a bus.
I think no, that coming out here, interestingly enough, musically, I mean, London in the '70s. I was a child then, right? And I
Yeah,
remember. I mean, I've got lots of older brothers, and it was a lot of noise on, a lot of noise going
yeah,
around. At least over here, I suppose, because you're so far away, you had to work a bit harder, and you create your own sound. You're not following like
yeah,
you would have done probably in London.
yeah, yeah. It's a fruitless conjecture anyway,
It is.
because
No, it is. It is.
yeah,
Oh, it's the best thing I ever did. I tell you that now. Absolutely. I love it here. So,
you do. I
oh,
bet
I
you
do.
you live in Canberra.
Yep. Yep.
Which suburb?
I mean, Gordon, which is one of the very new ones. You probably, when you were here, probably didn't
Gordon. I don't
exist.
even know where that
No, it's
is.
out. I'm right out near Tibimbilla.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
One of the
Wow.
very
Okay.
last suburb in Canberra.
Pine pine trees and
Pine
stuff.
trees and
Mount
stuff.
Stromlo,
Yep.
is it?
Yep.
Yeah.
About that area.
I used
Yep.
to I used to when I had girlfriends, we used to drive out there and park in the pine forest and um kiss and canoodle.
Well, that's the way to do it because there's at that time no one there, and fairly
Yeah, yeah,
there's very few people here now, let alone
yeah,
then. Oh no, but it is. It's a great country musically, and I feel privileged to chat to you, Steve, because I've seen you a few times.
yeah.
I think one of my favorite times that I saw you actually, I know you probably might not remember it, but it was an Australia Day concert. And it was around the lake, like Burley Griffin. Do
Oh
you
yeah,
remember it?
I remember that.
It was
Yeah,
during the day, and I didn't even
yeah,
know you were
yeah,
playing. We just walked past, and suddenly you were on, and
yeah,
my wife's like, "Quick, it's the
yeah,
church!" Like, we
yeah,
just
yeah.
oh, that was some time ago
Yeah,
now.
I remember that gig. Definitely.
So I mean, Canberra Theatre, I hopefully will set out for you. I hope so.
I believe our sales have been strong.
Good, and so they should. So they
Yeah.
should. I mean, you're one of the cornerstones of Australian modern music uh, as a band. I mean,
I I'm gonna use that if ever I have to go to court.
yeah,
And what do you do for a living, Mr. Kilby? I'm a cornerstone, Your Honor. A fucking cornerstone.
yeah. You can't touch me. I'm a cornerstone.
Yeah.
But what's it? I mean, it must be a big thrill, though, going to coming on stage and then seeing people about your generation, our generation, bringing their kids along to the
That is
shows.
great. And there are sort of church families where, um, strangely enough, there's a lot of fathers and daughters, and then sometimes there's mothers and sons, and then sometimes there's whole families that sort of follow the church like someone would follow a football team, and they all have their favorite members and their favorite periods and stuff.
Mm.
It is great, because our older fans are literally dying off. So, yeah,
Yeah,
no,
but
they
yeah, it's
are. I
true.
mean,
No, sadly, yes.
so sadly, yeah. So we do need some youngsters coming up through the ranks.
Mm. I mean, and again, your music is timeless, Steve. That jangly guitar pop sound is something that everyone can enjoy. It's not it's party music sometimes. It's good vibes at the gig, I'm sure.
I Yeah, here's to that.
Yeah, here's two. I haven't got a drink, but yeah. I've got my coronation mug.
Nice.
I've got one for the King's coronation, so I'll keep that in my room somewhere. Um, but it was a funny time that day because it was a mix of my birthday and the coronation, so it was a crazy time.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. Now speaking of the tour, so you've as I said, you've added on more.
Yeah,
Do
yeah.
you think that you will repeat that again if this in a couple of years' time if it sells out as well as it does, or are you going to tour new
Uh,
albums or?
um, I could lie here and go, we'll never do this again. You better get in and see this right now, or because this is never going to happen again. Um, I Yeah, I don't know. We have a brand new album
Ooh,
coming out sometime this year that we are all very enamored with in the
brilliant.
band. I would hope I would hope we would get a chance to play that. I like playing albums in there. I like that idea. We've done that a bit when you play an album in its
Oh,
entirety.
I love it.
We
Yeah.
had a tour. We had a tour where we played three albums in their entirety. We had two intermissions, and
Oh,
we played Starfish and Untitled 23 and Pre-Sequels Aura all in one night.
oh,
I
wow.
really, yeah, I really enjoyed that. Um,
Wow.
so I don't know. But then there's the thing that I can't argue with the way that this tour is selling out. Um,
No, it's wonderful
that
to see. It's really
Yeah,
wonderful to see. Like
it
genuinely.
believe me, it's good on this end as well.
I'm
Um,
sure it is.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't know what we. The other thing is, I'm 71 in September,
Oh,
so
mazel tov. You don't look
yeah,
it,
I
man. You
don't.
don't look it, dude.
Well, thank you, thank you. You should see me first thing in the morning. I do.
But
Um,
you're also very busy. I mean, you're an artist, you're a writer, you're a poet, you do so much stuff.
yeah,
Getting the band to do that as well would be just Yeah, I don't know about your time.
I, yeah, I don't know. If this time next year comes around and the promoter goes, "Hey, I think we should do the single show again," maybe we will.
You could do part two
I
and
don't,
do other singles.
yeah, all the singles we didn't do this time. That might be a harder sell.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know. Fans will come. I think they will. If they love it, they'll
yeah.
go the first time and go, "Wow, that was amazing. Let's go to the second one."
Hopefully,
Yeah,
that's how it's supposed to work.
that's how it's supposed to work. Yeah. Again with the singles, I have to just before we go, I want to ask.
Yeah, yeah.
Big history. A lot of musical notes have flown through your hands and your memory and consciousness for a long time. When you go to play back these singles, do they
Yeah.
still have do they still have the emotional connection to you like when you wrote them? Do you feel that when you
No,
play them? No, you
some
don't.
of them didn't. Well,
Yeah.
I'll tell you the truth. Some of them didn't have any emotional connection to me when I did write them.
Oh, right.
Um, and some of them have assumed emotional connection, and some of them, and they're all changing all the time. I I hate Unguarded Moment. I don't like it at all. I wouldn't like it if somebody else did it. I don't just because I did it. I don't like it. But I can't argue with playing it and the absolute delight and pleasure it gives people.
Oh,
Brings
yes.
them, takes them back to their being young. They enjoy it. They love singing along. So I have sort of, I've learned, I've learned to enjoy it vicariously through other people.
Well, that's
But
good.
back in the day, I fucking hated it.
Do you know,
Um,
it's at least you're honest about that. A lot of people would go, "Oh no, yeah, it's my I love it," and like,
Why do they? Why do they have to lie?
yeah,
And I got to say, Under the Milky Way, I, it's not a pain in the ass to play that song. It's sort of like it's kind of a good sort of neutral sort of song. But Unguarded Moment, like,
yeah.
oh,
See, to
I don't
me,
know.
yeah, to me,
It,
Almost With You is the one I love. Like,
oh, okay,
I
well,
love
yeah,
that. I love
yeah,
that track, and
all right,
to me, that's the one I'd be. I mean, because obviously, Unguarded Moment, Under Milky Way, I like, but Almost With You is like, oh, that's the one that would keep me there. I
thank you,
love that. I love
Tony.
that track. Yeah, yeah,
I'm glad you do. Listen,
mm,
I'm gonna have to jump off now.
yeah.
See you, mate.
Bye, mate.